Howdy, howdy, fellow movie watchers, and welcome back for another edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast, brought to you by PTE Creative. As always, we are your hosts, Evan and Dylan Davies. Dylan, you have exciting news. Did you return to the movie theater?
I don't know if it's exciting.
It's exciting for one person, at the very least.
Okay, sure. So I went and saw Superman, which is the first movie I saw in theaters since...
The 45th anniversary of Jaws 5 years ago?
No, I saw something. It wasn't indie. I think there was something earlier that year, though. Like 2023. Oh, Oppenheimer.
Oh, you did go
That's
to
what it was.
Oppenheimer. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you only go out when the stars are aligned, frankly, at this
So,
point.
like, once every 2 years, apparently.
So, we're going to be talking Superman, kind of the ramifications of that. Obviously, we're recording this right before Fantastic Four comes out. We have some questions about that as well. But the focus is on the tone that we want to go in, superhero-wise, and what our thoughts on Superman were. Because Superman's a very unique, almost throwback style of movie, which is going to be fun. But before we get all into everything Superman, just tell the listeners, how often were you going to the movie theater before some of your personality quirks kind of kicked into full gear?
Oh, yeah. I mean, before I had a really bad experience where I just wrote off theaters, I was going once a week, if not more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really, one bad experience really ruined it though.
Yeah, it's the millennials with Jaws. It's the Gen Zers with Jaws, right? That was the one.
Yep.
Gen Z with Jaws. Yep. Tough. Excuse the hair as well. I just got out of a pool 2 hours ago with a bunch of kids for the job, so we're gonna go for summer camp, I should say, just to elaborate. 'Cause I kept saying that sentence. I'm like, I don't like how that sentence ended. Anytime I said could have ended it. So we're gonna talk a little bit of Superman here. Overall, our official reviews, generally speaking, are always going to be me, unless you and I can meet up for a review, or you decide to go to a theater for a movie that I'm not going to watch. What were your some overall thoughts? And you can talk spoilers here. We'll just put the warning up beforehand. Probably there's gonna be spoilers in this episode. So
Without any spoilers, I'll say it was perfectly enjoyable.
okay,
I wasn't blown away by anything, but I also enjoyed myself way more than any DC property since Nolan, probably.
it says a lot.
Yeah. And then we can get into spoilers, but what were your general thoughts?
I think the best way I said it was when people keep asking me, because now in summer camp I work with a whole new crop of people, so I've got my regular people that I talk movies with, and I got a bunch of people that know I go to movies, so to talk to me about something, they go, oh, hey, have you seen Superman? And I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, that's got to be safe. He's got to have seen that. And, which is hilarious, because then I can go talk about Phoenician Scheme and F1 and 28 years later and be like, there's 10 movies you should go see beyond just Superman. So, everything I've said, when I keep reflecting on it, good, not great, and oddly too comic booky for me, which I didn't think would ever be a sentence that would ever come out of my mouth.
In what way do you mean?
I think the whole first act is really trying to find itself.
Oh, do you mean setting up the plot and all that?
Setting up the plot, there's a few too many little ridiculous notes that most people will write off as, oh, they're fun. And I'm like,
The only thing that really comes across as comic booky is the very beginning when they're trying to set up the war stuff.
Okay.
That's the only stuff that really came across as this feels so much more like a comic book than it does a real movie. I mean, I don't mind seeing that because it fit with the tone at least.
It fit. The tone was a little wonky for me. That was my
at times, yes.
It just felt like the first. I feel by the time he leaves the Pocket Universe prison, We're rolling. And outside of like the last 5 to 8 minutes where I'm like, okay, I thought that was the strongest parts of the movie. Especially by the time you
Mhm.
get to the Kent house, I'm like, we're rolling. This is great. Because I will say, and that's why like I always keep trying to. I don't feel negatively about this movie, but everyone is talking so positively about it that it's almost making me feel negative about it. Because I'm like, guys, it's a good movie. It's
I
enjoyable.
think
It's fun.
I think it has to do with like Superman is such a like known figure in
Yeah.
the world, not just comic book, just like any character.
Yeah.
I think it's just they're finally happy to see a movie that doesn't suck. Because like, what can you say about Superman? The last good movie I would say is '78, the original. I Superman 2 is okay, but I don't love any of the sequels to it.
Superman
Um,
2 Superman 2 is good based on what director's cut you get. If you get the original
sure.
cut, I'd say it's okay. If you get the Donner cut, I'd be like this goes into good territory.
And then Superman Returns, not great at least.
It's
Um,
middle of the road. Yeah, it's
I
very
was
middle of
gonna
the road.
say it's very mediocre. And then all the Henry Cavill ones, not because of Henry Cavill, it's not his fault at all, but I think they're just finally happy to see the character being portrayed as, what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think I've rewatched the first 20 minutes of Man of Steel. I just got back. I've been traveling for like the last 2 weekends. I've been on flights nonstop, going to and from places for short amount of time, and so I kept seeing Man of Steel on American Airlines as something I could watch. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm in a Superman mood, maybe. Because I always say, maybe I should go back and watch Man of Steel. Do it because I remember feeling
Mm.
positively about Man of Steel after watching it, and
The only
slowly
thing I'll
getting
give
worse.
Man of Steel, there's really two things I really like about it, and then the rest I could take or leave. I think the Hans Zimmer score is good,
I think it's tremendous score.
especially the theme that he does for Superman in it. I think it's called Flight.
Yes,
That one's really great. And then I do like Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon, Abs Equinox gym buddy for a month
Yes.
in Chicago. Yes,
Those are like the only two where I'm like, I would pull those out and put them in a different superhero movie. But yeah, other than that, I think all the Zack Snyder stuff is just very forgettable or worse.
yeah, it's memorable for the wrong way. You mean like
Sure.
my Batman's gonna kill people. So the one thing you can't do, you're gonna do? Yeah.
Actually,
Okay, fuck off.
one of one of the things about that is like bringing up Batman. There's been so many different like variations of Batman in the movies, so it doesn't feel that big big of a deal to do another movie where it's a completely different take. But Superman, he's only been portrayed by three people in the past 40 years, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the
Yeah,
thing. In a 10 year
almost
period,
50.
you had 4 movies of Batman with 3 different Batmen.
Exactly. And it's like
And also
Superman,
had the animated series. You had a change in the animated series. Then you got Justice League. Like you had all these different iterations where Superman was
yeah.
very consistently shown for a long
I,
time.
I think that's the problem with Man of Steel though, is like it's such a wildly different take
It's like what if
that it's
Superman was Batman? That's the problem. A very
yeah,
Batman-esque
yes.
Superman, and it just doesn't understand that Superman is a badass. I like the punk rock fit to kind of tie it all together to this new Superman. I like the
Mhm.
fact that they're like, no, Superman is punk rock because he's just so authentically himself and cares so authentically much about people that is punk rock. That he doesn't have to do the jaded like I'm too cool for that kind of thing. He's just like,
Mhm.
what? What? Like there are notes even when the tone's screwy for me and I'm not crazy about some of the stuff happening. I'm like, I love that moment. I love those little things. I love these little tweaks to the character that really make people understand this character. Because I put it in my review. I think this movie better than any other understands Superman. I think they really understand what this
Sure, yeah.
character is supposed to be. I think that when we tie it all together, that's what Man of Steel lacks. It gets this very depressive note where Superman's supposed to be light and bright and happy, and
Mhm.
that's why he's badass because he's just authentically himself.
Yeah. It's gonna be. I'm very curious moving forward what tone they're gonna try to strike. Because if they stick to this, that's perfect. I don't mind that at all. The only thing, it will be hard to fit Batman into that universe, but I'm I'd rather see a light Batman movie than a bunch of like movies that try to adjust the tone to fit Batman.
So I'm gonna preface my statements by two things. One, obviously most biased towards my favorite character and what I think is the greatest fictional character of all time in Batman.
Mhm.
So I think that A, that's a mistake. But two, I think that's bad business. I really do. Because the cash cow has been, is, and always will be Batman.
Oh, sure, but I don't think Batman is. I don't know because I don't look at the news all that often. Is Batman even a slated movie they have?
Yes.
Okay.
The one
Is
thing that
it?
they've been trying to get to is one, we're waiting till 2027 for the Batman 2, which is completely not in this universe, which I understand that. But
Yeah, sure.
I am very excited to see what the ramifications of that are. Because technically the DCEU was still happening while the Batman was released, but it didn't really count.
Yes.
And everyone
Yeah.
knew, everyone had already given up on that years prior. So everyone's like, whatever, this is clearly, they're like, who gives a shit? Fuck it, let's just put up a new Batman.
I I think they should just keep making those movies completely separate.
I think it's fine if they do that. I'm just very excited and interested to see, can two Batmen coexist somewhat concurrently in a general audience mind? Because one thing I really like about this new Superman movie is the fact that they didn't retell the origin story. They told everything you needed to know in 2 minutes, right at the
Mhm.
start.
Yep, I do like that.
And I love the fact that they said metahumans have been appearing for 300 years. So immediately I was like, oh, we can do the Justice Society. We can do all the older heroes that were sneaking through history that weren't inherently, out at the forefront. Or we can tell World War II stories. Or we can tell World War I stories. We can tell Civil War stories. We can tell Jonah Hex if we want to. Which I'm not saying Jonah Hex would be the first character I would pick to make a new movie of.
He'd probably be my 50th choice.
Oh, well, there are so many choices of characters I want to see before that.
Yeah. They what they could do is like put like the MCU has that very like iconic opening where it's the flipping through the pages, you
Yeah.
know? They could make something like that for like the actual in-universe stuff and then the Batman could just be like whatever it wants to be, but don't have that.
You have to do it like they were doing X-Men and the MCU, where there was a Marvel logo, and they did the whole,
Mhm.
they did a couple flipping pages, but they just went Marvel. But then they
Yeah.
had the whole, heroic cinematic universe entrance where you show
Yes.
all the characters in the letters, and the letters come out to spell Marvel, and the
Yeah.
cinematic universe stamp. You got to make something different. And I think
That's what I would do.
they started doing that with. I think they did that with DC because did they even put Elseworlds on something? Maybe they did with Joker
Oh,
and Joker
actually,
2.
yeah, I think I remember seeing something in the Flash,
And the
like
Flash was
a
something
DC
wonky.
opening.
Yeah, and they started doing a DC opening. I think even for Batman versus Superman, because I remember losing my shit because I saw Green Lantern. I was like, "That's a
Huh.
possibility. We can do that. We're not scared of Ryan Reynolds' movies so bad that we're going to
Yeah.
ruin some of the best
Well,
mythology we have."
that's one of the things I really like about this new, like going forward, is I think a lot of characters fit perfect. Like a Green Lantern will fit perfect in this universe. I think like a Martian Manhunter would fit perfect. A Flash would fit perfect.
Yes.
There's just literally the one problem is Batman.
My concerns are
And I guess any of the Batman like canon really.
I don't. I think the majority of the Batman canon works. I just don't know if Batman does.
Uh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Because the only
Maybe more of his like fantastical villains would fit perfect.
I think the vast majority of the villains of Batman's Rogue Gallery work perfectly, and I think the vast majority of his family works perfect. I think Nightwing is a perfect addition to
Oh,
this.
sure. Yeah.
I almost wish they would have done a Batman's Gone for a while, and we can find a way to get Batman back, you know. But then also I could have been like, oh, so this is Nightwing's time, this is Robin's time. But they're trying to do Brave and the Bold with a true Robin, and that's where I'm like, okay, that involves a Batman that is truly Bruce Wayne. That's
Okay.
that's where I'm like, okay, that's your next big one, because I know they're doing Supergirl. And all due respect to Supergirl, I'm very excited for that movie because I love Supergirl. I've always preferred Supergirl to Superman. Like, that's just always a character I've really enjoyed. And I think, because I even described this to some of the people that watched the movie, where they were talking about Supergirl, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know how I like that interpretation, but whatever. And I was like, I'm still open. I still want to see it.
Yeah.
I still think Millie Alcock
That's
was a perfect choice.
yeah. It's hard to judge off like 30 seconds of footage.
Right. And I was just like, I don't know, but I'm open. And everyone's like, why? I was just like, one of the things that always worked for me, and I think the best iteration of Supergirl is actually done by Matt Turner, was they kind of, because Supergirl's been like 10 different things, all really screwy, and then when they finally kind of had something working, they did the DC a little bit more serious version of 11 from Stranger Things, where she has
Hmm.
some decorum in society, but they kind of have to teach her like, yo, you can't just do that. Like, you gotta hone it down, or you gotta bring it up, or now's the time to really do it. And they had to have this big challenge with Darkseid, which you can't do Darkseid right away unless you just want to piss away the best villain of the universe.
Well, that and I mean, not that many people saw the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League,
Yeah.
but like that was so recent that I think it'd just be a waste to do it anyways. Like
Yeah.
they should let that lie for a while.
Well, that's the problem is that everyone gets excited by the ideas of what could happen. And I don't understand. I've never understood the fucking Snyder Cut people. I think they're out of their minds. I
I actually do like his version of Justice League more, but that's the only thing
I mean, I
I'll give
like
him.
it. I like it more than the original cut. The thing is
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Actually, I don't know if I do. I want to make that clear. I don't know if I do. I know it's better. I can factually say that. It's a better cut and a
Hmm.
better movie than the original cut Justice League, where the Franken cut of Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder is there.
Yeah.
But I don't inherently know if I like it more, because kind of, at least it was kind of like you came to terms with it, you dealt with it. Superman's back,
Hmm.
and you're like,
Oh, I'm
all
not
right,
saying like either cut. I'm just saying I like that one more.
yeah.
But like on terms of movies, they're like lower than average to me.
Oh yeah, no, I remember watching the Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League cut, the 4 hour one. The like the day or the day after it came out with my boy Cody when we were living in Philly, and you know we ordered food, we had a grand old time, but both of us at the end were like, we just spent 2 extra hours to make this movie 15% better,
You
maybe
sure? Yeah.
20% better. It wasn't good. It was just it's better.
Hmm.
It's passable now.
That's how all the Zack Snyder DCU universe movies felt. Where it's just like, okay, eh.
Batman v Superman's really bad, and I was
Yeah,
smoking,
that one is.
and I was smoking the hopium. I gave it a positive review right away, but because I was just so enthralled with, oh my god, look at all these moments. It's so cool to see these, and then I realized I was like, wait, this is terrible. What am I talking about?
Hmm.
But it's interesting to see what we're gonna get. The tone just felt a little off because Superman feels. Maybe it's just off because I'm not ready for a light, bright superhero movie right now. I think I've just been conditioned to be. Can't we take this a little bit more seriously? The thing is I think Superman's fine if the rest of the world around him was just a hair more serious. I think that works perfectly into making a live action version, but something acceptable to where. Do you remember watching Justice League and Justice League Unlimited? I know those came out right as we were kind of passing out of the Cartoon Network
Yeah,
phase.
I don't think I really watched them that much.
So I've gone back and watched a couple episodes of that. Obviously, Batman the Animated Series is still phenomenal and one of the best iterations of any character ever. And Justice League does a great job of allowing Batman to be Batman, and everyone goes up a little bit to meet Batman, and Batman still is himself, but there's
Hmm.
humor, there's a light to it where Batman can be somewhat humorous because these are theoretically the closest things he has to friends. So,
Yeah,
and I think that tone really works. I just want the rest of the world to just go, let's 5 to
yeah,
10%
sure.
more serious.
One thing, if they're going to do a Justice League at some point, I will say I don't see this version of Superman as a leader. So they might have to get a Batman who's a leader, in a sense.
I think the one thing that going back to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, which is why I think it's a great thing to shoot for, is Superman is the leader. To where everyone strives and they're like, well, we can't fuck with him, so he's clearly the alpha in the room.
Yeah.
They all turn to Superman because they believe in Superman, right? But when shit actually hits the fan, they immediately go, what do you think, Batman? Because he's the true alpha. To the point where Wonder Woman and Superman both are like, you do know he's a god. Like, he is a god. You do realize that, right? And everyone's like, what? That's ridiculous. He's a man. It's like, no, that's why he is a god. He's a man that can stand up amongst gods and still be superior in some ways. And that's the only thing I'm a little concerned about is one of my critiques was I didn't like how Lex Luthor was foiled by his girlfriend who's clearly a she's portrayed too much as a moron and an idiot
Uh-huh.
for him to just be like, "Oh, she's taking selfies." I'm like, "How
Yeah.
how
I
dumb
saw
are
that
you?"
as I saw that as a nod to the original. Like, because it is
Yes.
almost exact plot point in the original Superman,
I
the
know.
78 one.
And that's why I didn't like it. I'm like, that's some of the silly
Is
shit I want to move past.
is she supposed to be the same character even?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
Miss Tessmacher?
yeah, it's the same name and everything. And that's the thing.
Okay.
That's not really a thing for Lex Luthor. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
never been in the comics. I'm sure it has been. Everything that's been in a movie has been somehow incorporated into a comic somehow. And my Superman lore, I know a ton of Superman. It's just nothing is Batman for me.
Hmm.
And that's the one thing where I'm like, even the stuff even the heavy amount of Superman that I know and I have read, she's not that big a deal. She's barely in it, and that's why I'm like, can we just get past some of this silly bullshit?
I was okay with it only because I saw it as a nod. Other than that, yeah, I don't think it would fit.
I would have been fine if there was an insider leak. I think it would have been really smart to portray, instead of Eve, the only reason Eve is positive in some ways is because it gives Jimmy Olsen something to do, and I'm glad we got Jimmy Olsen. I think Skylar is perfect for that role.
I will say the only thing I don't understand is like they're trying to make him like a sex symbol almost, and I just don't see it, you know?
I think it's that whole millennial into Gen Z tech boy is I don't get
His
it either.
character, it's just because his character doesn't come across as super charismatic, really.
Yeah,
Like that's the only problem I have with it. It just doesn't seem like when they kept showing women like fawning over him, I was like, this is very strange.
yeah, like even
And that's nothing against the actor.
No, I
I
like
should
the
say.
actor. I think he's great. I've loved him since I first saw him in a lot of stuff. I mean, hell, one of Ab and I's favorites on Netflix is a show nobody cared about or liked, which is called Santa Clarita Diet, when it was like a comedic zombie show with Drew Barrymore
Yeah.
and Timothy
Hmm.
Olyphant. And we loved that show, and he was one of the main characters. He was one of the main four, and we loved him in that show.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what I knew him from.
Because
I'm looking at his.
he's one of those actors that when he has popped up, I'm like, good for you. I'm really happy to see you getting more.
Huh. Yeah, he apparently he's in the two Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Is he?
Oh, it's from the that newest Vacation movie, the Ed Helms one.
The one I inherently skipped because like it's gonna be terrible.
Uh, you can skip it. It sucks. It is awful.
And that's the thing. I will watch almost anything Christina Applegate's in just because I love Christina Applegate. Even I was like, nope,
Yeah.
can't do it, can't do it, won't do it. No. Yeah, I just there's something that just throws me off. I want a little bit. I would have loved an insider. Have the role of
Or
Eve Tessmacher where maybe I'm fine if it's even still a relationship.
maybe like just show like a couple shots here and there of her seeming like capable of that
Yeah.
because she doesn't come across as that at all.
Or another thing I think could have worked really well is there is an intelligent ex-girlfriend that's released from the pocket prison.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then she could have been like, yo, I've got the whole thing. And you're like, whoa, okay. Because then you can see, like, he was really smart. She was getting a little dangerous for him. He doesn't know how dangerous she actually was, but he was smart enough to put her there. He just doesn't know how valuable of an asset she was. And then I think that all of my negatives about that would be gone. Because then you can even say, like, hey, Jimmy, you're going to tail her, you're going to follow her, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And that can kind of be Jimmy's thing. Whereas,
That would require a setup, which would mean more screen time, which I don't think this movie needs.
no, I think it's
Um,
timed pretty well. I saw the runtime and I was like, oh, Dylan will be happy with this runtime.
yeah, that's why I was like, this is perfect. Don't add more to it, please. Like, I don't need a director's cut of this movie.
The other moment that threw the two other moments that threw me off a lot. I didn't like the growing monster, like weird dog dragon lizard thing.
I really loved it when they first showed it as just a little thing.
Yeah,
That was really funny to me. But then they immediately showed as a giant kaiju. So I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
kind of wanted to see
and
it grow.
it just that one felt a little too old Hollywood. We're not brave enough to actually do a real comic book monster because I'm not DC doesn't have as many classic monsters as much as Marvel kind of does. It's more of a Marvel thing. But there is something in the comics you could have found, and I'm sure maybe there is a tie that just I don't know about. But it's just one of those where I'm like, but then it gave a great moment. I love that Superman's like, oh, we could move it, we could research it. And I love that Guy Gardner was an idiot. He's like, no, we're just going to kill it. That's stupid. And I was like, no, that's perfect for Superman. I love that. That's great.
I really like Nathan Fillion in this movie too.
Yeah.
I That was a strong point to me.
It's fun to see Nathan Fillion kind of get his just desserts a little bit in a positive way because he's just been, for so long, has been teetering right on the edge of really getting to be more. I think he would have been perfect as a more serious Hal Jordan 10 to 15 years ago when it
Oh,
looked like
sure, yeah.
he was going to turn that way, and it just nothing ever happened for him.
Yeah, like post Firefly, he would have been good.
Yeah. And I again, it's nitpicky. I like Guy Gardner from the comic books, who is silly, who is a bit of a jock moron, but he's not this moronic. Where this iteration of Guy is
I really like that part.
is really stupid. The only reason it kind of hurts me a little bit is Guy Gardner has always been the classic. Okay, why this guy? Because like the whole thing is supposed to be they're fearless or they can overcome their fear, right? Hal Jordan, test pilot. You're like, Any test pilot, man, woman, or child, doesn't matter, has to have balls of steel. Totally get that one. Jon Stewart, former like special ops sniper or like armed forces sniper that goes into heavy combat. You're like, totally get that one. Guy Gardner, former gym teacher, and you're like, huh?
Oh, I didn't know that part.
You're like, why him? Like, and so it's always
Yeah.
kind of been the thing that he's so brash and has so much bravado that sometimes the idiocy can take over, but there's that good core where he's like, no, I'm brave enough to do this and I can do it. It's paid off really well. So to only see like the old 80s, like, I'm a moron jerk, you're like, okay. I would have liked a little bit more, but it's really good. I don't want to. I don't want to come off as that was bad though.
Yeah, I like that they stay consistent with his character at least.
Yeah.
Like, there's never a time when he like turns into what superhero a Superman is, where it's like a true hero.
Yeah.
He like stays kind of a dick the whole time.
Yes, and
Like when he's like flipping the tanks and stuff, and it's a big middle finger.
Yes.
Like that's great.
Oh, I even love that. I even loved when the Justice Gang, which it's just the Justice Society. Please just rename these motherfuckers, please, James, please just give me the Justice Society. I really just want to see Dr. Fate. That's all I really want to see. But I even loved where he's like, Soups had to call him the better team, and you're like, or whatever line he says to just get a dig into, you're like, that's perfect. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I thought everyone actually was good in terms of all the heroes.
How'd you like Mr. Terrific? I thought you'd really enjoy him.
I didn't. Oh wait, Mr. Terrific is not the guy who's in the Pocket Universe, right?
T-mask, leather jacket, fair play on the back.
Yeah, he was great. He was really great.
I thought you might like the slightly autistic or emotionally removed kind of superhero where he's doing it because he's like, that's fucked. He's not doing it because he's like, oh my god, I hate it so much. He's just so smart that he's just like, yeah, but I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, people don't deserve to die. That level.
Yeah, I really like that actor quite a bit. Yeah. And the funny thing is, the first thing I ever saw him in was Twilight, where he plays like one of the villains. But I was like, that guy's really great, actually. No, even in that movie,
he's another one that you're just every time you see him, you're like, I like him. Because I will say this,
he was also he was in First Class as well.
Yeah, and they said he was going to come back, and then after the apocalypse, he's like, well, I guess that's dead. Because he's like, Days of Future Past, he's like, maybe. And then they got to Apocalypse, he's like, alright, well, I guess I'm never coming back.
Yeah.
But I will say, as much as I did not like my time finally watching Twilight last month, I will say, I appreciated his 1 minute of screen time. He wasn't bad in that.
Yeah, that's true. He's not in it much. He's just like very minor character. Yeah, that's true.
But I liked him.
But I think he's better than the villain in that movie, who I can't remember his actor's name. But
what a high bar to set. What a high standard to hit.
Yeah. Because at first I was kind of worried about that Mr. Terrific character, because I wasn't sure how those, like, his little spheres were going to come across as useful at all. But then, like, when they show up to that military camp to get into the Pocket Universe, then it was really awesome.
That's the only other scene I have a little beef with. And it's not because of the T-sphere.
Okay.
I just hated the entrance with the music. I was like, this feels a little too Guardians of the Galaxy for me. And that's one where Guardians is a special tone for me. That's why I hate Thor Ragnarok. I'm like, it's just bargain bin Guardians of the Galaxy. I actually like Thor. I want to see more of Thor. I actually like seeing Asgard. So when it was just bargain bin Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was the only thing. I was like, this is the one time where I was like, this is the one time in this movie where I'm like, it teeters into Guardians characters, and I don't like it very much. But I loved the portrayal of the T-spheres. I loved Mr. Terrific just being like, no problem, I got this. That I loved.
Yeah. One of the great things about James Gunn is he always picks like weird minor characters to pretty much be stars in the movie. Like, because I'm not going to say any other director, but a lot of directors would have, shot their load all at once. Just be like, let's put Green Lantern in there, let's put Batman in there, let's put everyone.
They would have picked one of the seven, one of the eight. I think
Yeah.
the logical choice, if let's say we had to be that director, the logical choice for me is Martian Manhunter. Just because then
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter would be the one that would be like, I'm an alien. I trust
I
you. I don't give a shit. Who
Yeah,
cares?
I actually thought he was Martian Manhunter. Just like when I first saw him, like that first second, I was like, that's a weird interpretation. But then he wasn't that at all. So I was like, oh, I am
I
so wrong.
I love Mr. Terrific from the comic books. He's such a fun character, and especially it's really fun to get to see him play with Batman.
On a on an equivalency scale, where is Mr. Terrific in the DC universe compared to like a Marvel character in terms of like popularity?
Popularity. The problem is Marvel characters always appear more popular because Marvel is made up of teams for the most part, where
Uh-huh.
DC has always been Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and then whoever's hot at the time.
But
So,
but it is Mr. Terrific like Rocket Raccoon before Guardians, where like no one really knew who that is.
I'm going to say in the last 20 years, Mr. Terrific would be. Oh boy. Because they've really done the last 20 years, especially since the Jeff Johns Justice Society run, he's always kind of had a place. And then, especially once the last 20 years, where comic book companies, especially our major two, really did put a concerted effort in trying to, elevate characters of color. Mr.
Oh,
Terrific
sure,
has
yeah.
had Mr. Terrific has been a more stable presence where you
Mhm.
didn't have to if you like before the year 2000 to find Mr. Terrific you would have had to do a ton of work and now you kind of just have to do a little bit of work to find Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
So, he's not rocket level what the fuck, but he's D tier almost, I would say, where like
Okay.
Rocket's like G tier prior to Guardians,
Well, yeah, Rocket before Guardians is like the polka dot man in James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Yeah, like
Like,
Mr. Terrific is like I would say it's this. It's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. The rest of
definitely.
the rest of the core Justice League and the Batman family.
Yeah.
And like obviously villains we're not really talking about here. Then you
Well,
have
you can throw all the Batman villains in that tier pretty much.
you can throw the core 12 in before you get Mr. Terrific, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
be-
Uh,
because they're so popular.
yeah, best rogues gallery of all time. It's not an
I
argument.
agree. I don't love Batman as much, but I do agree with that.
Also, I mean, I hate to break it to you, Spider-Man fans. Fuck off. You're just wrong. You just are. You're just
I
wrong.
would give
They're
I would give
good.
Spider
They ain't
I would give
Batman.
Spider-Man I would give him second.
Yes, but we're talking about 1, 2. We're not talking about 1, 2. We're not talking
Yeah,
about
that's
argument
true.
territory. We're talking about the top of the mountain, the base of the mountain, and then everyone else is in the
Hmm.
fucking valley. And like the
Yeah.
Flash is kind of in there, Superman's kind of in there. Maybe the X-Men kind of are in there just because they've had such a big
Yeah.
run of villains, and everyone's a villain and a hero at some time in the X-Men canon.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it'd be like Batman, Superman. It's like the Trinity, the rest of the core Justice League, the Batman villains, the Batman family. Then you go into the regulars from like the animated stuff that was popular, and you're talking about like
Yeah.
Justice League. You're talking like the Zatannas, John Constantine's,
Yeah, I was gonna say
those
like
kind of characters.
the different variations of characters as well, where like
Yes,
there's multiple Flash, there's multiple Green Lanterns.
like those tiers. Then you have the Justice Society of like Mr. Terrific, Wildcat, the like OG Green Lantern, Old Man Green Lantern, those kind of characters, Dr. Fate, like that kind of stuff. And the other thing is Injustice deserves a lot of credit for elevating a lot of characters from back in the day because they started DCU was really smart. They had the core there, and then some of the characters you thought would make it never did, but they put other characters that you're like, you know what? I can't complain. They put some characters in here that like are rad. Mm-hmm. There's even another level where I'm like, maybe he's E, not D, but he's in D and E. He's not G. He ain't like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Actually, one property I'd love to see James Gunn tackle specifically, I really wish his next movie would be Teen Titans. Because I feel like he could do a great Teen Titans riff.
Okay, so let's go here. Let's talk overall DC. Because we're still...
Oh, I should ask, is that on the slate at all? A Teen Titans thing?
So this just came out in the news today or yesterday. They've been talking about doing Teen Titans. I think Teen Titans is on the slate. It's one of the projects they're most interested in.
Mm-hmm.
But a fan reached out, and James Gunn answered the question, and all he said was, we're not currently casting for that role, in reference to Beast Boy. And then a bunch of people were like, Beast Boy's not going to be in Teen Titans, it's ridiculous. And it's like, no, that's not what he said.
Yeah.
He said, we're not currently casting for that role. So that doesn't mean Beast Boy's not in Teen Titans or that Teen Titans isn't going to happen. It just means, you know, Teen Titans is not ready.
Yeah.
And one of the things that people are appreciating but also getting frustrated with, because they're used to the Marvel, let's push them out every year to 2 years now of new stuff, is we're seeing there is a little bit of restraint right now from DC where they're like, let's get our ducks in a row before we just do something, which we don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past, which I think is good from the sense of we're trying to really assure quality. The problem is half the stuff they picked, I'm also kind of like,
because it goes Superman, Supergirl, and then Wonder Woman, right?
Wonder Woman, they just hired a writer, so I don't know. The whole idea that the whole thing was supposed to be Superman. Obviously, people knew even a year ago Supergirl was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talked always Brave and the Bold with Batman and Robin. That's what they talked about, was those guys. And then Clayface is a horror movie that everyone got really excited about. Which is another thing I'm like, how does this tone go into a horror movie?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I mean, I'd be curious to watch it.
I think
it could be a spectacular failure.
It could be a spectacular failure, or it could be brilliant. Because I think it's tailor-made for if the right person does, which you could say this about anything. But that's that classic example of how malleable Batman and the Rogues Gallery and Batman's family is, where Batman works as a 60s comedy, and Batman works as Nolan's uber serious real world interpretation, and it works as, you know, grunge detective, and it works as, say what you will about Batfleck, there's parts of that work. It's just it's set in Zack Snyder's bullshit universe. Batfleck was not inherently the problem, you know, so...
No, I would say he was the one good thing about it.
Yeah, I would say that was the one redeeming thing about it, was Ben Affleck's portrayal was like, yeah, he's got some demons, and you can tell that Ben understands that.
I'm still really upset that he never got to direct his Batman movie.
Well, they never outright said it was Matt Damon, but it's Ben Affleck who said this, so I'm assuming Matt Damon's the person who actually said it, was because he had a relapse during the time that he was working on the Batman scripts and everything, and the famous thing was one of his friends said, yeah, it sounds great. You willing to die for it? Because it sounds like that's what's going to happen. Because like he was just pouring so much negative energy was surrounding him at that time, trying to work in this busted ass canon. And I'm like, like Ben Affleck directing a Batman movie with Deathstroke that's never been seen on the big screen before, another villain that can actually go toe to toe with Batman. That's perfect. That's great. That's really exciting. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the few positives from the last 10-ish years of the DCU where you're like, man, sucks to lose that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of going forward, I think they perfectly set it up. I'm just curious if they're going to stay with this exact tone or switch it.
Well,
I hope they just stick with it.
I hope they switch it. Honestly, I think Superman needs to stay this tone. I would like a little bit of the world around him to not be so silly. There's some of the stuff I was like,
What
it's silly for my taste. So that's why I'm saying
what what specifically came across as
Lois driving the like Mr.
oh sure,
Terrific's
yeah.
plane. I was like, it's needlessly silly.
I don't love that, but at least gave Lois Lane something to do in a Superman movie.
I think that's the
Like
problem is like Lois works so well in the comics, and you think Lois is so easy to do. Lois is really hard, and I like Rachel Brosnahan's performance a lot. I really think she's perfect
yeah,
for
yeah.
Lois because she has comedic
I
timing, but she's serious and she challenges him.
yeah. I like they nailed the my biggest critique of the DC universe before this was Henry Cavill and Amy Adams had zero chemistry to me.
Yeah.
And these two have quite a bit.
Well, they even said it. James Gunn stated outright. He's like, we weren't looking for Clark and Lois. We were looking for Clois.
Okay.
We inherently tested two people at a time to make sure that our
Oh, yeah, that's
choice
smart.
matched. We did not want to do. We found Superman. Go find a Lois. Or we found a Lois. Go find a Superman. They went, nope.
Hmm.
We're gonna find Clark and Lois together, so it works.
Yeah, that's smart.
I also think it's interesting that they did this iteration where they're like a new couple. I think everyone knows Lois Lane is with Superman, so I think that I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with it. I think it was fine and a really fun choice to do, and I'm glad that at the end they're clearly together, so that you know they're never. I think James Gunn is smart enough never do the will they break up. It's like shut up. We all know they're gonna be together forever.
That I didn't love that aspect of it. Just because I actually do love a love origin story. I don't need to see Superman's origin story, but it would have been nice to see like a budding romance. But
The only
this
thing,
is a very efficient way of doing it.
very efficient way. The only thing I think could have been fun and another way that you could have balanced Batman was it's from the animated movie that brought them together in the late 90s when they started the Superman animated series was it's all over the internet so anyone can go watch these scenes where it's the first time Batman and Superman meet and they're adversarial but they're always doing the right thing but they're just adversarial at first until they really learn to respect each other. And one of the things is Bruce Wayne comes to town and kind of sweeps Lois off her feet. And it's kind of, and he just kind of does it because he can. And it's just like, and Clark's just kind of stuck being like, well, I have to pretend to be Clark Kent. And he's like, yeah, fuck you. I'm Playboy billionaire Bruce
Actually,
Wayne.
yeah, that would have been kind of fun to see just Bruce Wayne in the movie, not Batman at all, just Bruce. That would have been a fun way to add him in.
Or even what it could have been fun to be. I would have loved if Mr. Terrific and Superman like saved the day and they clearly have Luthor at the wit's end or something, or they have Luthor and he's like refusing to shut the portal down, and then Batman just shows up and he's like, done. And everyone's like, where the fuck were you? And he's just like, doing all the
Yeah.
legwork that you didn't do. That's what I was doing. That could have been a really fun way to just be, I'm in, I'm Batman, everyone would have lost their shit, and then he's just gone.
What did you think of Nicholas Holt?
Really liked that portrayal. The things
So do
about
I.
Lex Luthor I didn't like had nothing to do with his portrayal. I really liked
I
it.
had zero problems with him. Maybe, no, I shouldn't say that because he is supposed to be a genius, isn't he?
It's supposed to be Batman, Lex Luthor, and Mr. Terrific is... So, they're allegedly all three the same, but it's always Batman and Lex is
Okay.
literally
'Cause-
a millisecond behind, and Mr. Terrific is like right there with them. Like all three are
Yeah.
the most genius people in the world.
Because at first I was like him knowing the exact moves to use on Superman to fight, like him calling him out. At first I was like, this is very weird. But then when I had the realization, oh, I think he actually is supposed to be like a genius level person,
Well, I think
then I was okay with it.
two things I think are really fun here. One, I really like that choice because at first I had like a what, but then I thought about it more and I really liked it because it shows that there's growth for Superman still, where you can kind of go into this and be like, dude, you got your ass kicked because someone actually knew how to fight that was an equal to you, and the only reason you
Hmm.
won is because you found a loophole.
Yeah.
What happens
Is
when
that supposed
someone's
to be
not telling you?
Bizarro or no?
That's what I'm thinking. It was so clearly they called him Ultraman, which is supposed to be a nod towards Earth 3 and the Injustice Society or the Injustice Gang, who is like an evil world Justice League that runs their world. So, but then he's kind of like got all these communication problems and all that, and because he's sucked away into a black hole and he isn't killed, I was like,
Hmm.
that's Bizarro. That is clearly
Okay.
Bizarro because now he's going to have to learn on his own. He's going to have to go to like a parallel universe so that when he shows back up and everyone likes him, he's going to be
Hmm.
Bizarro.
Is he a clone? I don't
Yes.
remember that. Okay. I was like, I think Lex Luthor cloned him, but I wasn't 100% sure about it.
Well, the other thing is, I think, how do you feel about this? This is a better question, I think, overall. And then I have one more follow up question. How do you feel? Do you like the fact that this movie clearly just trusted their audience? Or do you think they
Yeah.
should have spoon fed them a little bit more?
No. I'm all for giving as little explanation as possible in these movies. Like I'm not gonna say that like that actually is a wrong thing to say
Not
because
plot
they
holes or
do.
anything like that, but
Yeah.
be as efficient as possible with your
But
explanations.
like setting up each character is not necessary when they're, you know, a Superman movie. You don't need to
Icons.
explain who Superman is.
They're modern
Like you don't,
gods. Everybody knows who
yeah,
Superman, Lex Luthor, and Lois
but
Lane are.
yeah,
Everybody
I was gonna
knows.
say like even Lex Luthor, I don't think he needs any explanation. Like everyone can kind of tell or already knows who he is.
You know, we got to test this because it's been one of my favorite lines where people, when I get into the Superman and Batman conversations over Marvel characters, I'm like, my grandmother can tell me how Batman became Batman. We actually need to ask Grandma some questions when we're on our trip in like a month and a half to be like, hey, Grandma, who is the love of Superman's life? Because I'm
Yeah,
guaranteeing she'll know. And if she
probably.
doesn't, I'll be shocked. Because the same thing, I'm like, I it would probably kill me to finally learn the truth if she doesn't know how Batman became Batman, but I'm pretty sure she could give us that.
That one I'm questionable about. I think she can say Lois Lane for sure.
So that's where I'm like, okay, well, we'll test it. We'll test this theory because I know
Hmm.
mom will get it. Mom will understand, but I'm just worried about Grandma a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to kind of think about the hypotheticals because it's true for the most people where they just know it. Yeah, I love the fact that they just trusted them. Where it's just like
Hmm.
Lex Luthor's a genius. He's a sociopath, but he's a genius, and you're like, okay. You didn't have
Yeah.
to do the billionaire tech CEO and da 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 da. You're like, nope, got it, cool, here we
Hmm.
are. I love that. I love that they just did stuff. They didn't have to explain every little detail. That was great. I think it's going to be really interesting when you start going into the bag of you can't do that with Supergirl. You got Supergirl's been told one time, and it was a movie that no one ever remembers even happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think
You can do it quickly.
it obviously depends on what they're going for, but I like that they put a lot of faith in the audience to be like, I'll pick up on this as we go.
Yeah,
Like that's a smart move to me. I'd prefer that to like, even something that has as little screen time as the Batman origin in was it Batman versus Superman that had
90 seconds to 2 minutes.
yeah,
It could
like
have.
that
It
like
would have been 60 seconds in another movie, but because it's Zack Snyder, he had to do the bullet falling out of the gun, and he had to do the
yeah.
slow mo of every character and everything. Yeah.
Like I even that isn't necessary to me. As like Mr. Terrific, they don't explain anything about him really.
Nope.
They
Zero.
just put faith they just put in faith in the audience going, you're gonna like him. Figure it out.
And that's where I'm like,
Like
that's where I'm interested. What happens when we get to our
same with
characters?
Hawkgirl as well.
Yeah, that was another one where I was like, there's a lot of meat on this bone. I'm interested to see where you go with this because this is a complex character if you actually get into the weeds, dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know much about her.
Hawk Girl is. They almost have like a reincarnation thing with her and Hawkman, where they're like a set of lovers that always find each other again and they're reincarnated
Oh,
over and over and over again. But then
that's kind of fun.
there's also another origin story where they're just aliens from another planet that exactly like Superman look human but they have powers,
Hmm.
and then they put the armor on and they're just like, whoa, crazy.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm kind of like, or they can just do this version where it's just like, I don't know, she's got Hawk armor and she's pissed off.
yeah, yeah. I like that actress. I've seen her in multiple things now. I really like her as a young actress. I think they nailed all the side characters, the casting of them. The only caveat to that is it Jimmy Olsen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that. But I don't think that's the actor's fault. And then one other gripe that I did want to bring up is I don't think any of the sets really were standout. Like that's one of the things I really love about Guardians is like some of the actual physical sets they built like are really memorable and really awesome.
Sure. That's
That's like one thing I'm like, the I'm blanking on it again. Fortress of Solitude. That one was pretty cool, and it really reminded me of '78 Superman.
that I really
Um,
liked. I liked the Fortress of Solitude. The other one I think stands out because it's so different from every portrayal, and I think it's so smart. I loved this iteration of the Kent farm where
oh, sure.
they didn't do the big sprawling farm. They just it was like they said, James, why don't you hop? Or because he's from Ohio, James Gunn gets it because he's clearly driven through the fucking Midwest before.
Hmm.
Where the vast majority of farms, there's a little shitbox house, and then the actual barn and the stuff where people have
Yeah,
real money poured into. Their
yeah.
house usually doesn't have anything of real value in terms of
I
this.
think
I
I
love
think I
that.
mean more like they really went for realistic, where like I'd be super okay with them going a little more.
I think the Daily Planet could have stood out more. I think the
Lois's apartment. That's one where I'm like, I would have liked a little more.
just a hair. Yeah, I think it just something, you know.
Oh, can you hear that?
Yep. I heard a little bit of
Oh,
it.
it's EAA
Ah,
airplanes, all the jets.
I'm glad I'm not in
Oh, it
Oshkosh right
sucks.
now. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I'm alone for dinner tomorrow night. I think, unless Ab's going up to, I don't know. I gotta figure it out. She said she was going up for EA, so um,
Oh,
just for like the night to go hang out with some people and sin and do dinner. But yeah, like I that's the only thing is I really want you got to have a standout Batcave.
yeah, that's definitely one that needs to be.
And the other thing is I think you needed to go really traditional because especially now that they're doing a really good realistic interpretation of a Batcave in Matt Reeves's Batman universe,
Hmm.
you gotta have like a really bullshit, over the top, standout
Yeah,
traditional Batcave.
I was gonna say I want it to be over the top.
I want the dinosaur. I want the giant penny. I want all
Oh,
that bullshit. I want all
I
of it.
just mean like I want it to be an actual cave, not like the Dark Knight where he has that little thing in the underground,
Yeah,
or like even the Reeves Batman isn't really a cave at all. It's like,
it's an
you know,
abandoned train depot. Yeah,
yeah. So like I really do hope they go a little more traditional with that, and I think that's something that could help Batman in this universe is if you have stuff like that.
well, I also think Batman. I mean, we keep going into Batman. We're concerned about Batman because of the tone of Superman, or how does this Batman fit? I think what's going
Huh.
to bring it to life is, like you said, those. I want to see Wayne Manor on the top of a fucking cliff on the side of the ocean, because everyone just
Yeah, that'd
goes,
be cool.
and you're just like, how does that work? And you're like, don't think about it. He
Yeah, no,
needs to.
just go. Whatever.
The logic has to be: how does he get a boat into the cave? It can't be '60s Batman. He just has it on some random fucking dock,
Yeah.
and you're like, no one would take that. I'm sorry, I love Batman, but in that universe, if the Batboat's just sitting there, I'm finding a way to take it.
I think as long as the sets are cool enough, people will buy anything.
Yes, but I think that's where you gotta go over the top with it. Take the Tim Burton Batman Returns. I think is the best one because they
I
show
would agree.
the depth of the cave. Where like I still think the Batcave is awesome in the original Batman from Tim Burton, but just those few shots they show, just how enormous that cave is. That's
Mhm.
where I'm like, no, 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 go big. Show all the tiers. Show all the decks. Like even the for context, people, I've written 3 Batman movies. One was for college, and then I just started a trilogy,
Mm.
so I just wrote the other 2. The way I did it was that each deck, each layer of the cave was something more like another thing. So the first one was kind of like the meeting spot for all the heroes and had some memorabilia, but it was really just the Bat computer, the meeting spot, the table, the strategy. The next one down was kind of the training ground because it's the middle ground where he goes from detective that can live in his own home to I got to start going out at night, and then all the way at the depths is where the costume actually is, and like the vault had to keep the vault from Burton because it gives that nice mystique to it. Because then at least there's that tangibility of like he has to mentally get into the mode to go do
Mhm.
this, and
It'll
then
be fun to see the Batmobile too in
yeah,
this universe
they should
because
just do an
it's
upgraded
gonna.
version of Burton. It's the best one.
I was gonna say because it's gonna be definitely way more unique than the Nolan or Snyder stuff. I
The,
think probably the Burton ones probably are what it will probably look like somewhat.
the other thing is people don't realize how much of the Tim Burton look was why they know what they know Batman as because then those movies were so popular they changed almost everything about Batman visually where they went away
Hmm.
from the gray suit and the blue cape to we're going all black or we're going dark gray and black, you know. They even the animated series it's so much of Tim Burton stuff in it that
Yeah.
the Batmobile it's not Tim Burton's but it looks damn close. So you're like okay.
Um.
So that's the thing for Superman. I just want to see. I think this works perfectly for Superman. My tone questions are who else does this tone work for? And if you're going to do stuff like Clayface, which is supposed to be a horror movie, that's a really unique thing to do, and that can't have
Yeah.
this tone. Or if it does, it
That's an
has to
odd
be some.
choice.
That has to be some psychotic level comedy bullshit, you know.
Hmm.
And that's where I'm like, I don't know,
Wait,
I don't know.
is Suicide Squad then canon in this universe?
I don't think so. I think Superman's the start. Superman's the start. I can say that definitively. He said Superman was going to be the
Because
start. The thing
because they had John Cena, you know.
that's the
That's
other
why I was
problem
questioning.
is James Gunn's kind of has already kind of stated that like just go with it. It's kind of what he's already
Oh
stated.
yeah, I'm completely fine with it because I really do actually like that Suicide Squad movie.
Not crazy about it, but
I like it because it's way different than every other DC Universe movie. Like, it was very much its own tone.
well, that's the funny thing is that's what I thought worked well in the DC universe before. In the DCU, what I thought was the first Aquaman I thought worked really well. The first Wonder Woman worked
Yeah.
really well. I thought the first Shazam was really fun. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I think it works really well because it was its own thing. And it was just difficult because how do you put these pieces together? I don't know.
Hmm.
But we picked the wrong architect in the first part, and then we lost our architect halfway through because we didn't know how to do business. And then
Yeah.
we didn't know how to pick up the pieces after. And you're like, well,
Who's the one character that you're really excited to see in this new iteration?
I'll give you 2 only because they're 2 different things that I'm talking about. In this iteration, I want to see the true Green Lantern. I want to see Hal Jordan and I want to see John Stewart.
I don't even like Green Lantern, and that's who I would have said.
I
Like that
want to
actually makes me
see.
excited for a Green Lantern
Well,
movie.
I love the idea of Guy Gardner kind of being on Earth right now, and then all of a sudden it's because Hal and John are off world, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
they come back and they're like, "What the fuck were you doing?" And Hal's still really fun. John's more the serious one. Hal's
yeah,
still fun, but has a sense of humor, but he's still very serious and stoic. All people need to know about Hal Jordan is just watch Top Gun Maverick. Make it slightly more serious. That's Hal Jordan. That's all it is.
okay.
That's all you need to know. That's the character.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that will fit in this universe.
Exactly.
The other
So
one that I am excited for is the Flash, but that's just because
you love the
like
Flash. You've been a Flash
I
fan
love
since
the
you were a kid.
I love the Flash, and the one that came out in 2023, I think it was
Terrible.
so terrible that I'm like, oh come on, redeem this character, please.
Well, I think the other thing that people need to remember is the Flash isn't. The character of the Flash has always been an understated unifier for everybody. Where even Batman loves Flash and has a soft spot for Flash. Where even like, and he unifies people. Where Hal Jordan Green Lantern straight up says it in the comics, and I love it. He's like, I never really liked Bruce. Never really liked him.
Mm,
I always
mhm,
respected him, but I never liked him. And Barry's kind of the bridge between the two. And because Barry has that forensics background, Bruce likes him and
mhm.
doesn't just and it's like, what if Batman didn't have the most tragic backstory of all time? That's what the Flash is, because he actually tries to care about his villains. Where Batman's like, I want to rehabilitate you, but also, fuck off. I'll just punch you instead. Sometimes.
He also throws them in Arkham, which is like the worst prison in the world.
Yes, it's a whole another problem. That's another thing. I really want to see this iteration. What does Arkham look
That'd be
like? I
that'd be
don't want to.
awesome.
I don't. If this is the world, I want to see some wild shit Arkham. I don't want to see some.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a prison and it's dark. You're like, no
I
shit.
don't I just don't want to see a realistic prison.
I think the
Like
best
that's
thing is
boring.
find a middle ground between the Batman Arkham games and
Hmm.
Superman. Where have it where it's like their cells. Like, I want to see a Mr. Freeze in there, where you have to have like the cold cell where
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze has to be there. I want to see a Poison Ivy that tries to control plants and can't, but there's always this solar light coming in on her because that's what she needs. Want to see that shit. That's the stuff
Hmm.
people actually really want to see when they say, let's go comic booky. That's the stuff they want to see. It's not inherently, well, it's in the comics. So, the other character I really would like to see because I think could fit and could be a really cool mold towards that darker part of the universe, and a character I've always had a soft spot for is Zatanna. Zatanna is one of my
Oh,
absolute
sure.
favorite characters because she gets to play this really weird middle ground that's really fun, where she has that toe in the reality where she's like, oh yeah, I'm a sorceress, I'm a magician, and I can play it off as a stage magician, but also I'm one of the most powerful magic users in the planet and in the universe, and I'll fuck you up. And I always love that.
She's in the Batman universe, right?
She's Batman adjacent. She's always shown as they're always, for the most part, the best part in the comic books that I really liked was they are friends that may have had feelings for each other at one time, but they will never have those feelings, or one might have those feelings at one time, but the other won't. And it's
Hmm.
clear that, but they always come to love and support each other. They always really give a
Okay.
shit about each other.
Yeah.
Because one of the things is her father, Zatara, as part of his magic act, also developed to be a phenomenal escape artist. So that was one of the people Bruce reached out to when he was doing his training before becoming Batman. He's like, I need to know how to get out of all this stuff. I need to know how to do this. And so that's always been a fun part of the backstory when it's told. It's told in the animated series, but also some of the comic books, where it's
One
like where we do that.
that 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 sparked an idea. I would love it if they made a Batman movie that was just all him learning all the shit he needs to learn to be Batman, but like he never actually turns into Batman in the movie. He never fights a villain or anything. He just goes around the world and learns what he needs to.
I think that could be a fun.
It's like
That
Rocky level.
I don't think. I think you have to see Batman eventually. But one of the things is,
The last 3 seconds.
oh yeah, I'm talking 3 seconds. I'm talking one shot over Gotham. I'm not talking he's Batman. Where they tell that the in even Batman Begins, the the alias that Ra's al Ghul uses, even though they call him
Hmm.
Ra's, which is wrong, it's Ra's, is Henry Ducard when he first introduces himself.
Yeah.
That's one of Bruce's biggest mentors, and turns out to kind of be an asshole and betrays him.
Hmm.
And I think you could tell a great story of him going across the world and getting these little touches of
Yeah.
stuff
I
before it
it'd be really
happens.
fun.
And or I love the idea of, Ducard is this great detective that's got this big thing, and he eventually betrays Bruce, and Bruce has to. It's the first time he's really tested with. Well, I have all the combat knowledge now. I have all the detective knowledge now. I have all this stuff. Do I have the emotional training and bandwidth and maturity to go? I won't kill this person. I'll put them
Hmm.
away. Because you could put Lady Shiva in there, get a little League of Assassins in there, get some Zatanna in there. You could even get a little cameo Ra's al Ghul if you're playing it correctly. You could do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. I think it'd be awesome.
I think that also would be a great way to morph the tone into a truer Batman, where you can do a
Yeah.
lighter. He's still a teen, so you can do a moody teen with comedy where he's not super comedic, but everything around him kind of is,
Hmm.
and then slowly get to, no, I'm a man now, and I'm ready to go be the Dark Avenger of the Night. That'd be really fun. But yeah, Zatanna and
Yeah.
Green Lantern on my two. I knew you were gonna say Flash, but also you've had a soft spot. Don't let don't leave him hanging. You've had a soft spot for the Flash your entire life.
Yeah, I really love the Flash. I mean, his villains kind of suck, but
Oh,
I
his
really
villain.
like him as a
I think
character.
those villains are really fun though, because I think they fit the tone of Flash really well.
They're just no one iconic, really.
They're all comic book level iconic, but they're not.
Oh, sure.
They're not iconic. Like Captain Cold, a comic book fan knows the image of Captain Cold. They just don't know who the fuck he is half the time. They're like,
Or
I've seen
like,
that guy.
is it Gorilla Grodd? Right?
Yes, Gorilla Grodd,
Yeah.
Trickster. Those. There's always a couple that a comic book fan will know.
Captain Boomerang isn't he Flash?
Yeah, Boomerang's
Yeah.
Flash, Mirror
Yeah.
Master. Mirror Master could be really fun. That's another villain that I don't. If they ever did it right, could be really fun for movies because you could do all these different mirror dimensions and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think there's a lot of possibilities with this Superman. And I think the most important part to really nail it home is my coworker said it best. She's like, that movie gave me hope. And that's
Yeah.
the whole point. That's what Superman's supposed to be. He's supposed to give you hope. And
Hmm.
if that doesn't exist, this is irrelevant. This shit's.
Yeah.
Does any Superman that Zack Snyder gave us ever give us hope?
No. Like, and tell the truth, I'm not like, you know, frothing at the mouth for these movies either.
No.
But like, this one at least makes me look forward to it a little bit more. Because before this, I was like, I'm done with superheroes.
Oh,
Like,
you were.
I could just take it or leave it at this point.
I think this year has been perfect for the superhero genre because the ones that needed to hit. Because it started off
Yeah, I
really
only watched this one.
it started off really shaky with Brave New World. That movie's garbage. It's just
Uh-huh.
not good. And Thunderbolts, I was like, this might be the nail in the coffin. Like I was still gonna go to the Avengers level stuff in the next year or two, but I was like, this might be the nail in the coffin for me spending money unless it's an Avengers movie or another standout character that I've been always waiting for. And Thunderbolts was a really pleasant surprise to have. And then Superman, I was like, okay, it's got to be good. And pleasant
Yeah.
surprise to get it. So
Do you
Fantastic
think
Four is going to be interesting.
I was going to say, do you think this Superman movie will be better than the Fantastic Four movie?
Oh, great question. I think I'll probably end up liking Fantastic more than I like Superman.
Okay.
I don't think that will be the wide consensus, though. I think it'll be typical Marvel stuff where the people that go to see Fantastic Four, because of all the implications of that movie going forward,
Hmm.
because they've already spoiled it in the post-credit scene and it's out on YouTube, so I don't really feel bad. In Thunderbolts, you see the four space. We already talked about spoilers. There is a spoiler and end credit scene, which you can't be shocked by because they've already confirmed essentially that all these different universes are coming together. That a plane, a jet, a spaceship of some kind with the Fantastic Four logo pops into the space of the 616 universe of the MCU. So I think when they inherently show some of the shit that could happen in this movie happening, really leading into Avengers Doomsday, I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh my god, it's so cool. But overall, I think people will like Superman more than Fantastic Four. I don't know if I'll be one of them. I just think Marvel's
Yeah.
figured out their tone, and I don't know if the Superman tone will be better for me personally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And one of the things about Fantastic Four, which I think is kind of a hard part about that, is like they're not actually like a true group. Like they're four distinct characters, and you need to set up each character. Whereas like X-Men, you can just have a bunch of characters together, and you give them the benefit of the doubt because there's so many of them.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the problem. There's like thousands of mutants at this point, where you
Yeah.
could legitimately ask 1,000 people who's your favorite mutant, and they could legitimately all give a different answer. You know,
Actually, that's the one property of Marvel's I will say I actually want to see
it's
quite a bit.
clear that that's the next big one. They were
But
just
that's
holding off
like
on it.
just because I love the X-Men. That's my
Well,
favorite
well, that's you as a
of
comic.
all.
Which, by the way, I forgot to ask during Flash. Did you ever read the Flash run I told you to read, like the Jeff Johns stuff?
I'd have to look at the covers, but I think so.
Because
I'm pretty
they
sure.
have the big fat omnibuses now of it. That's what you should go read from the library if you haven't.
Yeah, I'm gonna look them up right now.
Because they're really fun. The artwork's really good. But Jeff Johns did a huge. Jeff Johns is the
Uh,
people don't realize how important his iterations of stuff are to the cinematic future of these characters. He revitalized the
I
Flash. He revitalized Green Lantern. He revitalized Aquaman. He revitalized the
uh,
Justice Society. Like,
I think I did because I really recognize the Flash Rebirth cover.
yeah, Flash Rebirth is a great comic. So, but yeah, I think you've always been a team guy. You don't read the
Yeah,
singular superheroes. You like Justice League and you like.
which is funny because I actually hate the Avengers.
All right, that's hilarious. I know because I remember when you were starting to dip your toe in a little bit more consistently, and you're like, "What should I read?" I was like, "Read this, this, and this." And then I was like, "Do you want to go into the Avengers?" And you're like, "No, I'm zero interest." And I was like, "Really? Like,
Yeah,
interesting
I
choice."
think it maybe they feel like too distinctive characters or something. I don't know because Justice League actually is that exact thing too, but I have no problem with Justice
Well,
League.
the issue is the Justice League has always been presented as six always there characters. The seventh goes kind of between two other characters, maybe three,
Hmm.
and then they might add two or three people for some variety. But you always have the consistency. Where even X
Yeah,
Men, you're like, everyone just wants the X Men '92 roster,
pretty much. Yeah,
and then you never get the actual X Men '92 roster. And you're just like,
you
can I?
get close.
Sometimes you get close, but sometimes you can't just pick up an X Men comic and just be like, I know the team. It's so rare for you to actually just open it and be like, I know everybody on this team right now. Like, even as much of a nerd as I am, I'm like, who the fuck is this? Who are these
Yeah, that definitely
characters?
does happen.
And I'm like, God damn. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I think superhero. This is the year superheroes needed. Because
That's
otherwise,
true.
it was just going to be big events, and no one was going to care about anything else. And then inherently, these would go the way of the dodo because you need all the
I
posts to get
mean,
to the big events.
to be fair, I would rather see other blockbusters than superhero movies do well.
I think this year also showed you the right number of superhero movies. I think three is tops. Three is like
Yeah.
tops.
I'm
Maybe
just saying, like,
I'm talking maybe four, and I don't think it should be four. I think three is kind of perfect. But four, if we're gonna say Marvel, you get two, DC, you get two. Figure it
uh-huh.
out. Make sure they don't suck.
Yeah, I do prefer like a summer like 2023 where like the big movies were Oppenheimer and Barbie,
Yeah.
both original movies. I mean, one based on IP, but like I think I prefer that to these giant ones, but
Well, this summer you're getting closer to what you want. You know, a lot of
yeah, that's true.
this summer's been a really good year for movies. Frankly, I think 2025 is really hitting it out of the park. So, but that I think we've covered it all, haven't we? I think we've
I
done
think
it all.
so.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the
Rating
future.
out of 10.
For Superman, ooh,
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, I'm like I think I'm just under 7.
Because I'm more gracious as a reviewer than you are.
Yeah.
So it's almost an
But
insult that I give it a 7 out of 10 because I am
um
usually I
yeah.
give a lot of 8s and 9s, but it takes a lot to get to 10. You know,
Yeah, this like 6 to me is like an average movie. This is above average, but I don't love it.
yeah. I mean, this is no
So
Sinners. I'd still say Sinners is a better movie. I think
I still haven't seen it,
it's available on HBO Max right now, my friend. It's
and maybe I'll
worthwhile.
get a trial.
It's worth it, dude. Sinners is the best movie of the year by far. You can tell because every movie podcast that has rotating guests, like The Ringer did this, where they did like a year in review halfway through, but they made every host pick a movie, but only the first host got to pick Sinners, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Like, they're like, "Well, I would pick Sinners, but apparently I can't pick that now, so I have to pick something
Yeah.
else." So, Sinners is like a 9.5 for me.
Okay.
Sinners is an
Wow.
incredible film. It's a
It's not going to get that for me. I can tell you that right now.
I don't think it will, but I think you will enjoy it. 9.5.
I have two. I have two movies that are 9.5, and that's it in the whole history of movies.
Do you have a single 10?
No, I've never given something a 10 in my mind. Because like I give stuff 5 stars all the time on Letterboxd,
Yeah.
but that feels different than saying 10 out of 10 to
Well,
me.
again, 5 stars can be 90% or above.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, or by some people's standards, it can be even 80% and above. You know, which is odd,
Well,
but
you can give 4.5, so yeah, like 90.
and so it's kind of like okay, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah, even like I said, even a perfect movie to me, like Schindler's List, that's a 9.5 to me.
wow,
I don't know if anything could actually get a 10, to be honest.
interesting,
We'll see.
interesting value here, folks. Well, okay, would you still be in agreement that The Dark Knight is the best comic book movie of all time?
Yeah, that's I think that's fairly clear.
Are we in 9 territory? Or are we talking 8.5 territory for you?
I I would say 8.5. But that's just cuz I don't love Batman as much as you.
I know.
I think it's a great movie, but I wouldn't give it a 9.
Yeah, but
Nines are hard to come by in my scale.
you're super stingy. I know.
Yeah.
I one could argue I'm not stingy enough. One could easily argue you're too stingy in your critiques.
I would agree. I think I am.
But that's gonna do it here, folks, on this not so stingy edition of talking everything DCU, and apparently a lot of Batman, which I didn't even intend to do on this show. So I'm happy to do.
Yeah.
But
It's bound to come up.
it's gonna come up when you talk about the ramifications of DC. So that has been the show for today. We will have a little correction soon because Dylan and I accidentally released the 40 through 31, not the 50 through 41 episode. So Dylan and I got to fix that. So that'll be coming. So in August you'll get a flip-flopped favorites episode, or yeah, or something of the nature. So we'll get that taken care of. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening wherever you are. It is appreciated.
I
Peace, love, and hugs to you all. Goodbye!